Hey, Ryan Falconer here, settopacetriathlon.com. We are doing a quick little video about Ironman Texas, and we're going to go over the run course. So as you can see on my screen, I've gone to Ironman Texas's website through ironman.com/im-texas-course, or you could just do im-texas and then go down to the course and then hit the run course, and this is what you'll see. So this is on the website. You have to download a PDF in order to get the details of the elevation. So in general, what we'll go over is basically it is a 3-run loop. So it's nothing crazy, nothing wild, and it's pretty straightforward. So the main point is you're going to be starting a transition, one transition race, and you're going through and you're going to head out and you're just going to be doing loops around Lake Woodlands. So it's nothing crazy, nothing super technical. On the website, they say it's rolling. So if you look at the elevation profile, you'll see there's some hills and gains and stuff, but overall it's 500 feet of elevation gain. So really, you're not doing that much. It's not going to be steep. If you've ever done Indian Wells out on a golf course, that was pretty steep up and down, but overall not a huge elevation gain. This isn't going to be like, it's very slow, meandering uphills. I think there's one little steep hill climb once you're making a little turn somewhere. So nothing crazy, nothing outlandish. You shouldn't be totally gassed out doing this run. But, after you do a 2.4-mile swim and you do a 112-mile bike ride and you come out and do the race course, it's going to be a little taxing. But the key points is to know where the aid stations are, and especially, they've got highlighted Red Bull stations. Make sure you know where the special needs drop is going to be. If you look on here, I'm trying to find loop markers, aid stations, Red Bull stations, U-turn, begin, transition area, start line. They don't have an icon necessarily for it, but I will say that more often than not, it's going to be by the transition area. So if you look at the T here, that's where the transition area is going to be. So I would definitely look at that area as the place. Usually they have the special needs bags right by the aid station here, or by the transition, because that's where you drop them off in the morning. It just makes it most convenient for them. Well, actually, I take that back. They used to put it in the North Shore Park. So make sure when you get there, because when I'm looking at the legend here, I'm not seeing the special needs drop and pick up. See if it's in here in the directions, and it is not. So that's going to be an important item, is make sure that when you go through the maps that you kind of look through to see if you could see a special needs drop. Typically in the past, when I did in 2014, it was at the North Shore Park, and you had access to it on every loop. So there's 3 loops, so just prepared. First loop, you're going to get used to the course, and the second and third loop, you're really going to get to know the course. Just be prepared that I believe it is in North Shore Park, even though right here, maybe the Red Bull station, that is their indicator for where the special needs are at. But basically, you take in here, you loop around the park, and there's going to be a section in North Shore Park where you could go through your special needs bags. And like I said, typically you should have access to it any loop you want. You only get access to it once. Once you use it, they chuck it. So make sure that you pick the right time to access that special needs. In the past, I wish I would have accessed it on the second loop because I got pretty dehydrated, and actually when I got past the South Shore Park, I cramped up and could not continue. So I was done at mile 14. I wish I would have stopped there, taken in some fluids, walked a little bit, and gotten a little freshened up. I had plenty of time. So just make sure you plan that out well. When I did it, it was in May, so it was a little bit warm. It was in the 80s. Usually in April, you probably won't get that hot. But who knows, man? It could be storms. It could be... Mother Nature can throw all kinds of things at you, and we're not even going to talk about COVID and pandemic and everything. We're going to just assume this race is going to go on as planned, and then you're going to go through, and it should be all smooth sailing. So what you get in transition, again, is one transition race. You get in there, you drop off your bike, you get dressed, and you're ready for the run. Make sure, usually it is sunny, it's probably going to be warm. Make sure that you get plenty of sunscreen on and plenty of lubrication. I use Aquaphor, and just make sure that you got all the sensitive areas kind of lubed up and getting ready for the run. I usually change my socks out, put a new fresh pair of socks on my shoes, and I use a visor just to keep the sun out of my face. But I also put sunscreen on my hair because I keep my hair pretty short, and I want, I've not done that in the past, and the top of your head gets sunburnt, and it's not very comfortable. So once you head on the run, notice you'll be on the back of Lake Woodlands, and that's a pretty big thoroughfare, so it's pretty like 4-lane road. It can be kind of lonely out here. There's not much going on. There's not many spectators. There's a few aid stations out here when you pass this little bridge. And then you hit the Woodlands Parkway, and then that's where you come in, and you're kind of on this little path deal. You go through kind of I guess, a little mini wooded area. So if you're out there in the dark, you do consider having a headlamp in your special needs bag. Maybe pick up on a second or third loop if you're going to be one of the nighttime runners. There's going to be some sections here that it might be a little bit difficult to see. For the most part, though, you should have street lights to be able to see where you're going, because once you get past North Shore Park, it's pretty open. There's plenty of aid stations. There's plenty of people out in tents and stuff. And as you're running through, you're running through neighborhoods, so you should be able to see by the street lights and everything. Another key factor is once you get into the canal area here, there's plenty of shops and restaurants, and people are actually kind of hanging out along the shore here. So this is like Spectator Alley down here. So once you get past the original canal area and you get to this little waterway here, both sides, there's a water walkway, there's sidewalks, there's all kinds of places for people to congregate, and they're having a good time. You're out there suffering, and they're going to be out there partying. So one thing I would say is, if you're going to time any walk breaks, if you're going to do a walk break, now's not the time to do it, because they will heckle you, unfortunately. And I'm sure it's all in good spirits, but they will give you a hard time if you are walking through this area. Even if you're just doing a light jog, just be considerate that you may get a little friction for people that think they're well-meaning, but in the end, they could be super annoying to you if at this point in time you're just walking and that's all you got left. So just be ready for that, and just make sure you know this little loop where you go over, and know where your turns are at, so you don't end up going to the finish line by mistake. Make sure you go out hit this U-turn, and then you're either going to go in the finish line, or you're going to go and continue on to your second or third loops. Just make sure you run past here, catch this little U-turn. So that's going to be the key, is just these little intricate little areas here, the turns and everything. Just make sure that when you come out of this little area here, you make the left-hand turn, you keep going on the course. You don't go straight into the finish line until you're ready on your third loop. So that's the key, because it's 3 loops. Like I said, it's not super challenging terrain. It's not really hilly. Regardless of what they say on the website, running it, like 500 feet of elevation gain over 26.2 miles. It's relatively flat. So there'll be little sections, especially in here when you're going up over bridges and stuff. There's going to be a little elevation gain, but it's not going to be super crazy. So the key is this. It's going to probably be a little bit warm. I mean, it could be a random warm day. In April, it's still somewhat cool. I mean, at the time of this recording, we're in February, and they're having an Arctic blast of negative wind chill temperatures. So it can get cold there in the winter. Same can be said for the spring. So just be prepared. It could be a little chilly if the sun goes down. So maybe in your special needs bags, you put something some arm warmers or something, just in case you run a little bit cold when it gets dark. It could possibly get a little bit chilly. So just make sure you're paying attention to weather, packing your gear right. Remember, you've got access to special needs in North Shore Park. More than likely, make sure you check your athlete guide when you get there and all the athlete briefings, but I'm pretty sure it's North Shore Park. Just make sure you have access to that bag 3 times through. Just make sure that you pick the right time to do it. I would not pick the first loop. Consider the second or the third. If you need to power up through my racing, usually on a third loop like this, that'd be where I start using things like Red Bull and stuff, because solids at that point in time just are not interesting to me at all anymore. So just make sure that you're timing that well to pick up your special needs, because you have access to it for 3 different times, but once you use it, you're done. So once you get that bag and give it back to a volunteer, they throw it away, so you're not going to see it after that. So I think that's one of the main keys. The other one, make sure your sunscreened up. The sun can get warm, it can get bright, and you don't want to get sunburnt while you're out there and then dealing with that while you're out there trying to do the run. The other one is hydration. Make sure that you're staying hydrated, because down in Texas it is humid and you will probably sweat, especially if you're training inside in the winter. Especially in Kansas City here, it's I believe 2 degrees this morning. So when you're in the basement training away in your painting cave, it's going to be cold. So you might put some space heaters on you just to make sure that you're making yourself produce sweat, and you're adapted to heat. So you need to make sure that you're ready for that. The other side is make sure that you keep, hopefully, a sense of humor when you're running through the little waterway area and the canal area. When all those spectators are out there, like I said, they've been out there all day. There's restaurants, there's things out there. They bring coolers, they make a day out of it. Most of the part, they're well-meaning, but they may heckle you if they see you walking out there. So just be prepared for that. Have a thick skin, or time your running and walking so you're running through this area whenever you're running through the spectators. So overall, that's kind of what I see is kind of standouts for this course. Like I said, it's not super crazy. Just make sure you know the turns when you come through. Make sure you don't head to the finish line area when you should be heading to your second loop. Just make sure that you know where your special needs are and when you're going to pick it up. And just make sure that when you go through transition, you have everything you want. Usually I've got a little snack. I've got a fresh pair of socks. I've got Aquaphor. I put my socks. I put in my sensitive areas to make sure that I'm ready for that. I have a visor for the sun. I put sunscreen on my head so I don't get my head burnt. I think that's going to be main key. If you do a full change of clothes, that's the time to do it too. So whatever you put in that transition bag after you get done changing, you get at the end of the day. So you'll get all those clothes back. Just don't put anything valuable in there because it could get lost. You never know. But overall, course isn't really that bad. You're really not crossing too many big traffic areas. It's all left-hand turns. So through this neighborhood area, it might be the only place you kind of encounter maybe cars on the road. When people, you're going through a residential area, when people are leaving, you're going someplace. Usually they got most of the area blocked off, so they try to keep the traffic down to a minimum. But most of this other stuff is on the walkway or the pathway. This is on the shoulder of this main thoroughfare road. Otherwise, you're on paved trails, you're on sidewalks, you're on concrete sidewalks. It's actually pretty nice, pretty decent as far as run courses go for Ironman. There's nothing too wild and hairy out there. You're not crossing major roads or anything like that. You don't have to deal with traffic and stuff. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of my take on Ironman Texas on the run course. It's really a straightforward course, but you really got to make sure that you're hydrated well for it and you've done your nutrition right on the bike. So you've got enough energy to get through. Make sure you keep your wits about you to know when you're going through and hit the aid stations, and then when you're going to hit special needs to get your stuff. With that, that's all I got for Ironman Texas for the run course. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. If you got any other questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you. And happy training out there, and we'll see you on race day.